Most ad creatives don't fail because of bad media buying, they don't fail because of low budget, and they don't fail because of the algorithm. They fail at the psychology level, before any of that media buying stuff even has a chance to matter. I ran 99 ads and we created ads that spent over $500 million for some of the biggest DTC brands in the world. And after watching tens of thousands of winners across every single niche, the difference between an ad that converts like crazy and one that gets scrolled past almost always comes down to the same thing. 7 psychological layers stacked in a specific order, and in this video I'm going to walk you through every single one of them, show you exactly how to use each layer when you're building your next creative, so you can understand what's actually happening inside someone's brain when they see your ad, and you'll know how to build creatives that work with that psychology instead of fighting it. This is the psychology of high converting ad creatives, layer by layer. Let's get into it. Layer 1, camouflage. The first job of any ad, and I mean any ad, is to not look like an ad. Here's why this matters more now than it ever did. It's not just that attention span got shorter, it's that ads have gotten everywhere. Open your phone, you're hit with an ad in the first 3 seconds. Open Instagram, every other post is sponsored. Open YouTube, pre-roll. There's no medium left where ads aren't running, which is great for us, but there's a big shift when it comes to trust. The medium used to have credibility. If a brand was advertising on TV or in a magazine, there was a baseline assumption that the product was probably decent. People bought and they didn't get burned. That's gone. Today, the average buyer has bought something from an ad that didn't deliver, more than once most likely. Think of dropship junk, influencer flocked supplements, beautiful brands shipping broken products. So the brain learned. Every time you scroll past an ad, a defense mechanism kicks in. This might be another one of those. And the second their brain flags your creative as an ad, they're probably gone. Polished studio lighting, perfectly composed product shots, logo in the first frame, a beautiful catwalk model presenting your product, a voiceover that sounds like a voiceover. All of these get auto-flagged, auto-skipped, which is why, and we see this every single day across our portfolio, a raw UGC ad will outperform a 6-figure studio production for the same product, same offers, same audience. The UGC version wins. It's not because the production was bad, it's because it didn't camouflage. The brain didn't catch it as an ad. And by the time the viewer realized they were being sold to, they already absorbed the entire pitch and knew why they should buy your product. But here's the thing, you've only earned the next 2 seconds, because now their brain switches to a completely different test. Is this even for me? So layer 2, relatability. And it's deeper than most operators think. Relatability isn't just one thing, it's more of a stack. Think of visual. The actor on screen looks like the buyer. Verbal. The language consists of words the buyer would actually use in their day-to-day. Pain. The problem is named at a granularity the buyer feels it. Setting. The ad takes place in the buyer's actual environment, not at a beautiful studio. Cultural in terms of references, life stage, the moment in life they're currently in. The strongest ads we run hit multiple of the above at the same time. And here's what most operators miss. Casting is one of the most important parts of your ads. And when you cast a woman in her 30s, that's not relatability, that's stock footage. Real relatability is granular. Mom of 2 under 5 on her 3rd coffee who hasn't had a full night of sleep in the last 6 months, that's a mirror. When a viewer who actually lives that life sees that ad, they don't feel like they're being sold to, they feel like someone made it for them specifically. That's the conversion shift right there. The ad stops being an ad and starts being a message addressed to one specific person. Now the brain is leaning in instead of pushing away. That's layer 2, they feel seen. But feeling seen only buys you another 3 seconds maybe, and what you do with those 3 seconds is where most operators bet exactly the wrong way. Layer 3, pain over pleasure. Most operators bet on pleasure. They lead with what the buyer will gain, although the data says that they should bet on the exact opposite. And this is how the brain is actually wired. Losing something hurts about twice as hard as gaining the same thing feels good. Threats hit before rewards, and there are several researches that back this up. The translation for ad creatives is that if you lead with what they'll gain, you're using a 1x lever. If you lead with what they're actually losing, you're using a 2x X lever. Same effort, twice the pull. Most operators get this exactly wrong. They write an ad like, clearer skin in 30 days. Now compare this with the pain alternative. Every day you don't fix this, your skin barrier gets thinner. Same product, same outcome, completely different emotional register. Now the brain locks in, because the brain isn't choosing between normal life or slightly better life. It's choosing between normal life and actively losing something. We've A/B tested this at scale across all categories. Pain-led scenes beat benefit-led scenes almost every single time. Not by a few points, by a lot. And that's layer 3. Lead with what they're losing, not with what they could gain. But pain is just one emotion in a much bigger toolbox. And the next layer is where ads either come alive or fall completely flat. Layer 4, emotional angles. The strongest creative lever I've ever tested. And the one that most operators just half-ass. Look, purchase decisions are made in the limbic system, not in the prefrontal cortex. The emotional brain decides. The rational brain just builds the justification afterwards. By the time someone is reading your bullet points, they've already decided. Emotion locked it in seconds before. This is why feature-led ads underperform almost every time. The features are written for the part of the brain that isn't actually making the decision. At 99 Ads, we use what we call the EPIC framework: emotional, practical, identity, and critical. These are 4 angle categories every creative can be built on. And the E, emotional, if well executed, outperforms the other 3 combined. But here's the key. Emotional angles aren't generic emotions. Make her happy isn't an angle. The stronger emotional angles are precise. Loneliness specifically, frustration specifically, embarrassment specifically, resentment specifically, pride specifically. You pick one emotion and the entire creative gets built around landing it. Every scene, every line of script, every B-roll, all in service of that one feeling. When the emotion is precise, the viewer doesn't just feel something, they recognize it. That's exactly how I feel right now. And that recognition is the moment the rational defenses calm down. Now, quick pause before we get into layer 5, which by the way is the one that does most of the heavy lifting in every winning DTC ad we've ever shipped. If you're spending $30,000 a month or more on meta ads and you feel like your creatives feel stuck, same hooks, same structure, same 2 or 3 angles, this is exactly what we do at 99 Ads. We rip your account apart, we figure out which layer is breaking, and we rebuild the entire creative system from there. The service is entirely done for you, so you just receive your new winning ad creatives every single week, you launch and scale. Link in description, book a call to see if you qualify, and let's get back to layer 5, the one that does the heavy lifting. Layer 5, identity. So they're watching, they feel seen, the pain registered, the emotion landed. Now the ad has to answer a completely different question. Not how does this make me feel, but who do I become if I buy this? Nobody's buying your product, they're buying the version of themselves that owns it. This is the deepest lever in conversion psychology, and it's the one most operators completely skip. They show the product, they show the benefits, they never show the after self. There's a concept in consumer psychology called the extended self. The brain treats your possessions as extensions of who you are. So when you buy something, you're not just buying an object, you're stepping into a new version of yourself. When the viewer sees the after self in the ad and goes, I want to be that person, that's the moment the purchase decision crystallizes. So before you build any creative, ask yourself one question. What version of themselves does the buyer want to step into? Show them that. Don't show just the product, show the transformation, who they become. But identity alone won't close the deal, because the rational brain is now awake, and it's about to ask the one question every layer so far has been postponing. Layer 6, the unique mechanism. The rational brain has one question. Why your product specifically? What makes yours different from the other 10 options I'm scrolling past? Quick story. Claude Hopkins cracked this one over 100 years ago. He was working with a beer brand stuck in 5th place called Schlitz. He visited the brewery and saw the whole process, how they cleaned the bottles, filtered the water, cultivated the yeast, every single detail. He asked the brewery, why aren't you putting any of this in your ads? And the brewery said, every beer brand does exactly the same thing. This is not unique. Hopkins ran the campaign anyway, same beer, same process, now visible. Schlitz went from number 5 to number 1 in just a few months. The lesson here is that your mechanism doesn't have to be exclusive to you. It just has to be visible in your ads. Most of your competitors aren't talking about how their product works. They're listing features 100% natural, doctor formulated, third-party tested, cruelty-free. That's not a mechanism, that's a feature list. A mechanism explains how the product produces the result, the cause and effect chain. Watch the difference. On one side you have healthy soda, that's a feature. On the other side, you have prebiotic fiber that your gut microbiome converts into the compounds it actually needs. That's a mechanism. The buyer doesn't need to understand the psychology behind it, they just need to feel that someone has thought it through. And here's the psychology behind why this works. There's a behavioral study where people tried to cut a copy machine line. When they just asked, compliance was around 60%. When they asked and added the word because, even with a nonsensical reason, it jumped to 94%. The brain doesn't check whether the why is true. It just stops asking why once it's provided. That's the lever. You give the brain a why and the objection dissolves. One more thing that most operators miss. The best performing mechanisms have a name. Prebiotic fiber, foundational nutrition formula, patented blend, bioavailable iron. When a mechanism gets a name, it stops feeling generic and it starts feeling like your thing. Even when the underlying process isn't actually exclusive to you, now your product is different. But explaining why your product works isn't the same as them believing it. So the last layer is what closes the gap. Layer 7, risk reversal. The brain has cleared every other question. Only one is left. What if I'm the one this doesn't work for? Every single thing in this layer is about one thing, making the buyer feel like they're not actually risking anything by trying your product. And there are a few ways to do it. The first one is social proof. Other people like me already did this, it worked for them, so it will probably work for me. The brain treats consensus as a truth heuristic. If 36,000 people gave it 5-star and didn't return it, I'm probably fine. Specificity matters here. 36,000 5-star reviews versus risk. Loved by customers doesn't. The second one is authority transfer. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend it. Derm formulated, as featured in the New York Times. The trust is borrowed from someone the buyer already trusts. If dentists are willing to bet their credibility on this, the buyer doesn't have to bet theirs. The third one is the literal financial guarantee. Money back, 100-night trial, free returns. The frame is, if this doesn't work for you, you lose nothing. Each one removes a different angle of perceived risk. Stack all three and the rational brain runs out of objections. Other people validated it, authorities backed it, and if it still doesn't work, you get your money back. The math becomes, why wouldn't I try this? That's the moment the ad converts, not when you ask for the sale, when the buyer can no longer find a reason to say no. So here's what I want you to do tonight, not someday, tonight. Open up your last 10 ads or your competitor's last 10, doesn't matter. Watch each one with this lens. Count the layers. Does it look like an ad or did it camouflage? Is it speaking to a specific person or to everyone? Is it leading with pain or with pleasure? Is the emotion precise or is it generic? Does it show the transformation or just what the product does? Is the mechanism visible or it's just a feature list? And does it reverse the risk enough to run out the last objection? Most ads will hit 2 or 3 of the 7. The winners usually hit 5, 6, or even all 7. Once you start watching this way, you can't unsee it. And now that you understand psychology, the next question is what this looks like at the system level. How to actually structure your account around creatives built like this, where they come from, and how to make sure you've always got new ones in the pipeline. So click this video here, where I walk you through the exact system we use across our portfolio to keep producing winning ads on command. Same psychology explained here, applied at scale. I'll see you there.